Oh, and I agreed with many, many things you said during, in fact, probably more than most other candidates when you were running for president. But I still would not have voted for you because you're an Indian.
Oh my God, corny, lame, boo, tomato, tomato, tomato. I'm throwing tomatoes.
So I'm trying to understand why none of you conservatives out there, my conservative fans, my conservative followers, ever told me that Ann Coulter was kind of a racist, or at least a white nationalist. Like, come on. Okay, so I actually recorded this video a while ago, but the audio came out really, really bad, so I couldn't use any of it. So I know this is a little bit of an old story, but I still want to talk about it because I still want to give my man Vivek his flowers for handling himself so well. Even though when the little clip of his interview with Ann Coulter came out, there were people also dogging him, calling him an Uncle Tom on Oreo, that you let a white woman talk to you like that and you didn't even drag her. But for me and for most people with common sense, saw that Vivek handled himself extremely well and actually made her look like a dumbass. So Ann Coulter immediately comes on, or at least the clip I saw, it immediately started with Ann Coulter saying, like, I actually agree with a lot of what you're saying and we agree on things and policies and stuff like that, but I would never vote for you because you're an Indian. I don't know if that was her trying to throw Vivek off, because for the rest of the interview, she kind of was using words to sort of not directly say what she meant, like WASP. She kept using the word WASP. What I know is like basically a white Anglo-Saxon white person, blonde hair, blue eyes sort of person, European, whatever.
There is a core national identity that is the identity of the WASP. And that doesn't mean we can't take anyone else in, a Sri Lankan or a Japanese or an Indian. But the core around which the nation's values are formed is the WASP.
So I was like, well, why are you saying I wouldn't vote for you because you're brown, you're an Indian? Because that's it. Because if she says she prefers a WASP, she means she prefers a white person. So it doesn't matter if Vivek is Indian. It matters that Vivek is a brown, because she keeps saying, I want to vote for a WASP, which is a white person. It's like, why say Indian with your chest, but then the rest of it, like, not just say what you mean. I don't want to vote for a brown person. I want to vote for somebody who looks like me, somebody who's white. But she kept using this sort of principle that I want to vote somebody who's at least fourth generation, like European, basically. Like, I want to vote for somebody who came from Europe, Britain, over to America. But for somehow that would make them more loyal to America, because her reason for not voting for someone who is a third or second generation immigrant is because their loyalties might lie back to their home country. Like, so Vivek's loyalty might lie in India. I think Vivek is Indian, or Sri Lankan, I think he's Indian. And so his loyalties might lie somewhere else, or I don't want to vote for someone who's Jewish because their loyalties might still lie with Israel, stuff like that. But voting for someone who's originally from Europe, how, from her logic, from her stream of thought, how would that then make them more loyal to America? They're not American. If we're going to go with that logic, Native Americans would be the best option to vote for, because they're originally from America. Wouldn't have more stake in America than someone who's fourth, fifth, sixth generation from Europe. Maybe their loyalties still lie over there. So her logic didn't really track. And I think the true statement she just wasn't saying with her chest is like, I want to vote for someone who's European white. I want to vote for a WASP. She said it WASP, but I think she was saying it in a way because she knew like everybody wouldn't know what that was. I Googled it when I first recorded it, and I was like, okay, I kind of figured that's what she was saying, but she wasn't saying it with her chest. But she said the Indian part with her chest, but I think she was saying that with her chest because she was trying to throw Vivek off.
We've never had a president who didn't have at least partial English ancestry. Never.
Mm-hmm. No, I think that's an interesting tour through that historical lane, but I want to pick on one point you said, which is citizenship, right? Let's talk about what does it mean to be a citizen of a nation. And it's interesting, if a lot of people trip up on this, they'll say, well, it means what you get. Right? Do I get to vote, or do I get some other claim? And that doesn't really work. Actually, if you look through most of American history, for example, women were citizens long before women could vote, right? Mm-hmm. And so it's not about what you get. In my book, and I think that this is true with the American conception of citizenship, I think it's true of the Roman conception of citizenship, is it's about your loyalty, actually.
Yes.
To whom do you actually pledge loyalty? And so I think you and I share that in common. Where I wouldn't say lose you, but I may fail to fully understand you, is on that axis of citizenship, what does ethnicity have to do with the matter? And I think you would be well served, and maybe this could be a great platform for you to do it, to make the case for why that, what you put at WASP basis for the American identity, how is that relevant against a backdrop of which you got the WASP seventh generation descendant of some rich guy on the Upper East Side in Brooklyn that pretends to hate this country because it's the cool thing to do, versus somebody who came here as the kid of immigrants, but pledges loyalty to this country. If loyalty was the access for citizenship, aren't you actually committing a bit of a sin, reverting back to a conception of citizenship that has nothing to do with loyalty in the first place?
And I think the way Vivek handled himself was really, really well. I like the fact that she pointed out that her ideology pretty much matches with the far left ideology, which I've always said that the far left and the far right are very, very similar. They actually have a lot in common. Basically using identity politics to say that's the reason why you should vote for someone, using your race, using your gender, using your culture, using your background as a reason to vote for someone is the same thing that the far left does, but like, you know, on the flip. Well, you're white, you're male, you're cis, so you're bad. So you shouldn't be able to speak. You shouldn't be able to have an opinion. You should be able to get hired for a job. You shouldn't be able to go to school. It's literally the same freaking ideology, but they're so different from the radical left. So I'm really happy that Vivek pointed that out, that her logic was just really flawed and really stupid, and that of an adolescent fucking uni kid.
Here's my question for you on that is, because the left is actually very good at using what I call proxy logic. I reject proxy logic, but the left is actually very good at this. They'll say we need diversity in a corporate institution. So we're going to select for diversity of thought, not by screening candidates for the diversity of their thoughts, but by screening them for the diversity of their skin color, which is a really curious thing. If you care about diversity of thought in a boardroom, why do you care about diversity of shades of melanin or the diversity of your X or Y chromosomes? You could have a room full of people that look really similar to one another and think very differently, or a room full of people that look really different and think the same, which is much of what you get in corporate America today. So that's what I call reasoning by proxy, where one of the things I've often said to the left is if you want to select for diversity of thought, screen candidates for the diversity of their thoughts. If you want to select for diversity of experience, screen candidates for the diversity of their experiences. That might be a better way of achieving your stated goal than to use the logic of proxy. So again, the constitutional questions to aside, I think we're talking about a cultural matter relating to national identity. My question for you is, I worry that you may, I say this respectfully, maybe making some of the same category error that our friends on the left make to say that, yes, it is shameful that immigrants and kids of immigrants often have no idea what the heck the Bill of Rights is actually about, that the Second Amendment exists not to protect some guy who wants to go sport hunting, but it's the one amendment that puts the teeth in all of the other ones. These are basic concepts that many immigrants, first-generation Americans, and for that matter, I could say it from having gone to school with many of the WASP varieties that populate places like Harvard too, where I've gone, goes for any sixth or seventh generation American too. It's shameful, the level of civic absence of knowledge, a black hole of understanding of the history of our country. And I guess my question for you is, why solve for that through what I would argue is a pretty poor proxy, whether or not you're talking about a safeguard? If there could be a safeguard to ensure that you have leaders in this country or citizens of this country that have a better understanding of that, I would love that safeguard. I personally believe that every high school senior should have to be able to pass a basic civics test, the one we ask immigrants to pass, before becoming a voting citizen of this country. Before you cast that ballot in a ballot box, you better darn know what branch of government the president leads. And yet, you actually have more people who would fail the test that naturalized citizens are likely to pass who aren't even naturalized citizens. Why not solve for the actual target that you and I both care about, which is loyalty and an understanding of what you're actually pledging loyalty to, rather than using what I would argue is a left-like false proxy target that you use to solve for the same thing?
Yeah, now I know Ann Coulter is a fucking racist and a white nationalist, at least. So yeah, I know. I didn't know that at first. I was kind of shocked by the interview. I know who Ann Coulter was. I know she used to be a really big supporter of Donald Trump, but I think she pulled back her support, at least at some point. I don't know if she's given him back his support again, but I don't think Donald Trump would want her support. Yeah, I just find it weird that like the closer we get to the election, a lot of the very far right wingers are like coming out of the woodwork with their cobwebs. You have like Nick Fuentes and a bunch of like right wingers like supporting him, and it's like, guys, the election is really around the corner. Do you really want the mask to slip now? Like, slow boy, remember? You don't supposed to turn up the heat so we can all see your true faces. When I say the far right, I mean the far fringe right, not actual conservatives, not actual Republicans, not religious or traditionalists. I mean the far right, who is, again, like Ann Coulter, most likely white supremacist, white nationalist, racist, homophobic, and Jew-hating right-wingers. That's what I mean. So yeah, it was crazy, and I think Vivek handled himself really well. I really do hope Vivek is Donald Trump's pick for vice president, or at least is on Donald Trump's team somehow as an advisor and a consultant. I don't know. And if Donald Trump does get prosecuted and he does have to spend jail time and he can't run for president, I really think it should be Vivek and Ron DeSantis. But let me know what you guys think in the comment section below, and let me know what you guys think of what I said about this interview. Let me know what you guys think about the interview. Please like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell to get the notification when I do upload. All of that really does help with the algorithm, guys. And if you want to support the channel even further, please, for the love of God, donate. My PayPal and Cash App link is in the comment section below, and you can also super thanks. And thank you for everyone who's been super thanksing lately. I truly appreciate it. It means a lot to me. And thank you. Hello to all my new subscribers. Hello, welcome. And other than that, you guys have an amazing, beautiful day. Bye.